Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Mariam and I am a Farsi language instructor. In this lesson, we are going to learn about demonstrative pronouns and adjectives in Persian. And also, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Every Monday, I'm going to publish a new video. In the previous lessons, we learned a little bit about nouns and the genitive case and plural nouns in Farsi. So now we are going to learn about a little bit about demonstratives and then the verb is and are, so we can start making basic sentences. But before that, we need to know what these words are in Farsi. So in is this, on, inha, anha, anha also means they. And then for the verb is asked and hast. These two asked and has have been used interchangeably throughout the whole lesson, but generally asked is a little bit more formal and has is a little bit more informal. But if you want to know more about their difference, there's a slide under important points. You can just watch that. And then are is هستند. So for the demonstrative that and these and those, there is also an informal version. So that becomes like on, this is the formal, and the informal becomes un. And inha, the informal becomes ina. It's like we kind of drop the he part, ina. And anha, the informal is either unha or una. Before we start making basic sentences, it is important to distinguish between demonstrative pronouns and demonstrative adjectives. In English, the distinction is pretty straightforward, but in Farsi, it's a little bit trickier, and we need to know the distinctions because it changes the dynamic of the sentence in Farsi. And in case you don't know what demonstrative pronouns and adjectives are, let me very briefly explain to you that. So demonstrative pronouns, as you can see here, is trying to identify someone or something. So this demonstrative here are trying to identify, like in this example, identify a book, like an entity. But on the other side, demonstrative adjectives are demonstrative that are trying to describe a noun. So in this case, like this book is big. So we have the noun and then we have an adjective, and the noun comes right after the demonstrative. So now in this lesson, we are going to start with learning about the demonstrative pronouns in Farsi. Let's start with demonstrative pronouns for singular. So here we have a sentence. We have a basic sentence. We want to say this is a book. So we have the demonstrative here, and then we have the verb here, and then book is kitab. And we just said that demonstrative pronouns are trying to identify someone or something. So in this case, they are trying to identify a book. All right, so this sentence in Farsi, the structure is a little bit different than English, because in English you start with the subject, in Farsi we start with the subject, but then the verb follows the subject in English, but in Farsi the verb always comes at the end. This is a little bit tricky for the students in the beginning, for English speaking students, because they are not used to put the verb at the end, but then with time you will get used to that. All right, so now we have everything. We can come up with the sentence. It's going to go as in یک کتاب است. And for the next one, that is a book. آن یک کتاب است. So here, just a few things you need to know. First of all, we can put یک, which stands for the article a. In English, we can put it in a bracket because the article a in Farsi is not very strict. So we can also say in kitab ast without pronouncing the yek. And the second thing you need to know is that it doesn't matter ast or hast. You can use either one. In this lesson, I mostly used ast because I wanted to have consistency throughout the lesson. But again, don't get too much stuck on why ast or why hast. You can use either one. Earlier in the lesson, I mentioned that generally asked is more formal and hast is more used informally. But beside that, there is another informal version for asked or hast, which I'm going to explain here. So here we have in kitab asked. So we want to say that informally. So we drop asked and then it becomes replaced by the letter silent he. And then because be connects to the letter after that, it attaches to be. In kitab be. Or another example, in daftar ast, we drop the ast part and then it needs to be replaced by a detached silent he. So in daftar ast becomes in daftare. This is very important to learn because it is widely used in the colloquial language. Now let's take a look at a few examples. The first one, this is a pencil. Pencil is medad. In یک مداد است. And again, یک here is put in a bracket because it's optional. And the informal is in یه مداده. The ye again is in a bracket. Next one, this is a notebook. Notebook is دفتر. آن یک دفتر است. The informal اون یه دفتره. We said earlier that the informal of on is un. Next one, this is a table. Table is میز. این یک میز است. The informal is این یه میزه. Another thing you need to know here is the negative of is and are. So ast and has, which they both stand for is, and hastand. As you can see here, the letters that are the first letter that are in green color, these letters, letter he and letter aleph, they become replaced by ni. So ast or hast becomes nist, and hastand becomes nistand. For example, if I want to say this is not a book, then it's going to go as in kitab nist. And also remember that there is no informal version for the negative verb of is and are. So, you know, in the positive, we said in kitab ast becomes in kitabe, but for negative, there's no such thing. So in kitab nist is either formal or informal. Now let's also take a look at the negative version of these examples that we did. These are the same examples, but just in negative. So the first one, این یک مداد نیست. آن یک دفتر نیست. این یک میز نیست. Demonstrative pronouns, plural. So now we want to say these are books here. So these is plural. And then with the verb are is used. So this sentence is going to go as اینها کتاب است. But please note here that است is used rather than هستند because هستند is used for animate nouns and for inanimate noun still است is used or hast. The next one, those are notebooks. آنها دفتر است. And also, as you, if you notice here, the noun is plural in English, but the noun is singular in Farsi. I have given more explanation about this in the next slide. All right, so now let's go to these two examples in the bottom. So these are mothers. So mother now is an animate noun. So we can use هستند. So we're going to go as اینها مادر هستند. And next example, those are boys. آنها پسر هستند. There are two important points that you need to know when it comes to demonstrative pronouns. The first one is that here in English you see these are books and the noun is plural. But as you can see here, the Farsi inha ketab as the noun is singular. And the reason is the demonstrative pronoun. So we said earlier that demonstrative pronouns are trying to identify someone or something. So here basically they are trying to distinguish between like entities, right? And let's say we have a book and then we have a pencil. So demonstrative pronouns is trying to distinguish between a book and a pencil. And in this case, the noun in Farsi stays singular because the focus is more on that rather than the number. The second thing that you need to know is that students ask me, can we also use هستند for inanimate nouns? Yes, we can also use هستند as well. In fact, in informal language, هستند is more common used than است or hast. But the more correct or proper choice here is to go with است or hast. Let's see some examples, but with inanimate nouns for now, and then in the next slide, you will see some examples with animate nouns. First here, we want to say these are pencils. Pencil is medad. So it's going to go as inha medad ast. And again, the noun stays singular. And then the informal of this is inha medade. Next one, those are papers. Paper is kagaz. Anha kagaz ast. Or anha, sorry, unha kagaze, because the informal of anha is unha. Next one, these are bags and bag is kif. Inha kif ast. For the informal, inha kife. We also say ina for sometimes ina for inha, the informal of inha. So it can also be pronounced as ina kife. And now 3 examples here with animate nouns. The first one, these are mothers. Mother is madar. So it's going to go as inha madar hastand. Also, there is an informal version for هستند, but that's covered in the next lesson about personal pronouns and verb conjugations. And then we want to say those are boys. Boy is پسر, so آنها پسر هستند. And then these are children. Children, like child singular or kid is بچه. اینها بچه هستند. Now let's see the same example that we did, but in negative now. So you can also get some practice in negative. So I'm just going to read through them. So the first one, اینها مادر نیستند. The second one, آنها پسر نیستند. And the third one, اینها بچه نیستند. Now we are going to go over demonstrative adjectives, and as you can see here, demonstrative adjectives are trying to describe a noun. So not only we have a noun, but we also have an adjective in the sentence. And again, it's important to distinguish between demonstrative adjectives and pronouns because in English they're pretty straightforward, but in Farsi, depending on which one they are, they change the dynamic of the sentence. All right, so now let's see what demonstrative adjectives are in Persian. Let's start with demonstrative adjectives for singular first. So here we want to say this phrase, we want to say this class is big. But now this here is a demonstrative adjective. So it's describing a noun. Not only we have a noun here, but we have an adjective. All right, so it's going to go as in کلاس بزرگ است. So it's like there's like a comma here. In کلاس بزرگ است. And next one, we want to say that man is kind. آن مرد مهربان است. Let's take a look at a few examples here. So we want to say this book is good. So book is کتاب and good is خوب. So it's going to go as این کتاب خوب است. The informal of this sentence is این کتاب خوبه. Next one, that pencil is bad. Pencil again medad and bad is just bad. آن مداد بد است. And the informal اون مداد بده. So on becomes un. Next one, this woman or this lady is young. So woman خانم and then young, informal جوان. Sorry, formal جوان, but in informal it's pronounced جوون. So it's going to go as این خانم جوان است. But the informal is این خانم جوونه. Now for the same examples that we did, let's just turn them into negative sentences. So the first one, این کتاب خوب نیست. Second one, آن مداد بد نیست. Next one, این خانم جوان نیست. We finished demonstrative adjectives for singular, and now we are going to take a look at the plural version. So here we want to now say this sentence, these books are good. So in English you use the plural demonstrative, the noun becomes plural, and then you use the verb are. In Farsi, here's a trick, we still use the singular demonstrative. So in and on, and then we make the noun plural. So if you don't know how to make the noun plural, make sure you check out the previous lesson on plural nouns. So basically, like a direct translation would be this books. This is what we should say. And because book is an inanimate noun, then we need to use the verb is. So it's going to go as این کتاب‌ها خوب است. And then for the next one, those kids are tired. So we will be using the singular demonstrative on. And then we need to make kid plural, and then we need to use هستند because of بچه‌ها, and بچه‌ها is an animate noun. So this sentence is going to read as آن بچه‌ها خسته هستند. Now let's take a look at more examples for plural demonstrative adjectives for inanimate nouns for now, and then in the next slide we are going to take a look at a few examples for animate nouns. So here we want to say those pencils are bad. So pencil is pencils, مدادها, and bad is bad. So it's going to go as آن مدادها bad است. The informal of the sentence, the informal of on is un, and مدادها becomes مدادا. So un مدادا بده. If you're wondering how come مدادها became مدادا, you need to watch the previous lesson. Next one, these boxes are small. Boxes جعبه ها, and small is کوچک for formal and کوچیک for informal. So this sentence is این جعبه ها کوچک است. Or the informal این جعبه ها کوچیکه. Now let's see 3 examples for plural demonstrative adjectives, but for animate nouns. Alright, so now we want to say those boys are clean, boys پسرها, and clean تمیز. آن پسرها تمیز هستند. Also, there is an informal version of هستند as well, but that is covered in next lesson about personal pronouns and verb conjugations. Next one, those girls are pretty. So girls دخترها, pretty is either زیبا or خوشگل. آن دخترها زیبا هستند or آن دخترها خوشگل هستند. And next one, these mothers are kind. Mothers مادرها, kind مهربان. The informal is مهربون. این مادرها مهربان هستند. And here is a general summary of what we learned. On the right side, we have the demonstrative pronouns, and on the left side, we have the demonstrative adjectives. I'm not going to go through it again because we already covered everything in the lesson. But if you take a look at this, since everything is in like one slide, it's going to be helpful for you to understand better. We almost reached the end of the lesson, but there's just a few important points that you need to know. If you like this video so far, please like it and subscribe to my channel and share this video. This point is about the difference between hast and asked. I get this question a lot by my students, when to use hast and when to use asked. And earlier in the lesson, I explained the difference between these two, and I said that asked is more used in formal context and hast is more informal. But actually, there is a fundamental difference in meaning and application between these two. Hast refers to the existence of something. For example, in kitab hast. But asked refers to the modality of something. For example, in kitab khub ast. So here, asked is about expressing the quality of the book. But with evolution of the language, this difference that I just explained is not recognized anymore. And nowadays, the difference is more a matter of formality and informality. I have used both hast and asked interchangeably in my lessons, and also if you refer to any Persian teaching textbooks, you will also see the same thing. With that being said, the difference is not applicable anymore, so you don't have to worry about it. The next point is about the informal of asked and hast. I will explain it by using this example here. So this is a map. Map is naqshe. So this sentence is in naqshe ast. But now, if I want to say this colloquially, meaning dropping the asked part and replacing it by a silent he, then it's not going to work because the noun already ends in a he. So in this situation, we drop only the first letter of the verb. So we drop here the aleph part. So it's going to give me in naqshast. And we don't pronounce the a part, the a sound for naqshe, and it's pronounced in naqshast. Imagine there's a sound on the she. So in naqshast. Next one, this is a coat. Coat is palto. We also say coat, but palto is more like a winter coat. So let's go with palto because it ends in a long vowel u. So in palto ast. And again, this one ends in a long vowel. So we only drop the aleph part in ast or the he part in hast. So it's going to give me in paltost. Next one, this is Sarah. Sarah is Sarah. So it's going to go as in Sarah ast. So we drop only the aleph part. So it's going to give me in Sarast. We reached the end of this lesson. If you found this lesson helpful, please remember to like, to subscribe to my channel, and to share this video. And also, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Khuda Hafiz.